What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of BizBuzz Live. I'm your host, Chris Muzan. Hey, we got a special one for you today because I get a chance to talk about all the things that I really want to talk about with you around how you are going to go out and improve the second half of 2025 and really bring in the income you need. So stick around for this one. All right, y'all. What's up? What's up? Welcome back to another episode of BizBuzz Live. I'm your host, Chris Muzan, your financial coach, financial strategist, helping you through all things finance. So glad you guys can join us for this last Friday of June 2025. Right? We're not gonna get this one back. So June. This is the last Friday, and I'm glad to be here with y'all. As always, the reason why we have these conversations, or the reason why we even talk about this stuff on the show, is because as a financial strategist and somebody that sat down with people from 18 to 80 to talk about their money, and not just high net worth people, really people that are common, average, everyday, ordinary people, your neighbors, your teachers, your firemen, your social worker, your stay-at-home mom, your janitor, your person that works in Amazon warehouse, your person that drives Uber, your person that works in a restaurant, your small business owner. I've talked to all of them across the board. And whether we start this conversation around talking about their investments, or whether we start the conversation around talking about their their debt or their insurance protection or anything else, inevitably the conversation comes back to your cash flow. We can start anywhere, right? We can start on insurance, we can start on savings, you can start on investing, we can start on all those conversations. But inevitably, even if we keep going down that path, wherever we start, we will come back to a cash flow conversation, which is just what's coming in and what's going out. Is your discretionary income increasing year after year? That means after bills and spending and all the things, how much money do you have left over? And is that number continuously growing? Or does it feel like it's shrinking? You don't have to answer, because I already know. For the majority of you, it feels like it's shrinking. For the majority of you, it feels like that discretionary income number that you had 5 years ago is less. 2 years ago, less, right? Like it's continuing to go down. I know these things. You might not be aware if you don't budget and track your money and actually know. You might feel it because you see your credit card debt go up a little bit. Or you might realize, like, hey, I can't afford the same luxuries that I once afforded me. Flights are a little bit more expensive. Hotels might be a little bit more expensive. The travel might be a little different. You might feel it in that way, but you don't really know how much less you have now than you had before. By the way, sidebar tip for anyone that wants to own a home and is not currently a homeowner, and you want to buy your primary residence. One of the things I've been coaching people through is that as we go through this shift in our society of home ownership being an investment or whatever people believe, one thing that you can measure to know if you're ready for it is if you see your discretionary income growing. If you are bringing in more money, or have the projection to bring in more money every year, every other year, and I'm not just talking your 2%, 3% raise, because your 2%, 3% raise goes to cost of insurance, or excuse me, I'm in the insurance space, right? It goes to cost of living. Your 2 to 3% raise it keeps you up with inflation. It keeps you up when eggs go up and all the other things. So your discretionary income doesn't really go up, even though you saw your income go up 2 to 3%. I'm talking about, can you go from making $60,000 this year to making 75,000 to making 100,000 to making 120 to making 142 to making 180? Like, do you know how to do that? If you do, and that's your projections, and you know you have the ability, even if you're at a job and you're bouncing around and doing all the things, do you know that your income goes up? If so, then you're in a position to own a home. If you're not in that position where you don't know how your money is going to grow, you don't know how your income is going to grow. You don't know how your discretionary income looks. You might be on the brink of getting laid off. This isn't the time to go get that home. As a sidebar conversation, maybe we come back and talk about it at another time. But again, the reason why we have this show is to talk about cash flow. It's not just to talk about budgeting and tracking, which is important, by the way. If you're not doing it, that's probably step one to fixing your financial life. If you have conversations or, questions about your financial life, 90% of the people, no exaggeration, 90% of the people that I sit down with that say, hey, I'm a little confused financially, or I need a little help financially. If I ask them the question, do you track your money? Meaning, do you know where it has gone? Do you know last month or in the month of June, how much you spent on dining out? Do you know about in the month of May, how much you spent on gas, or how much went to your children, or how much went to your entertainment? Like, if I asked you those questions, most people, 90% of people, don't know that answer. Or 90% of people don't actively budget. They don't actively put down where their money is going, what habits they need to change, all of those things. And so, again, a quote I always say is you got to inspect what you expect. You have to inspect what you expect. So if you expect to have money, then you probably should inspect your money all the time, right? If you expect to get out of debt, you should probably inspect your debt. If you expect to build wealth, then you should probably inspect your wealth, right? You just got to inspect. You got to take a look at all these things. Most people don't do that. That's 90% of people. And that could be a good place to start if you're listening, right? If you're listening, and that could be a good place to start for you. You can take a listen, take a look at this link down below, get our cash flow ebook, so you can talk about or so you can pay attention to what's going out of your financial life. If you need to sit down and have a conversation, I'm more than happy to have a conversation about how to get your financial life on track. I've done it for hundreds of people, if not thousands of people, and it really helps. Okay. The second part of that cash flow conversation, though, is how do you make money? And this is the purpose of this show. This is the purpose of why we are here on this Friday morning for you, is to make sure that you understand that you can control how you make money. And it's important if you want to grow your cash flow, if you want to save more, if you want to pay off debt faster, if you want to get to investing more, if you want to buy that piece of real estate, if you want to buy that business, if you want to make sure that like there is adequate an abundance of money around you, then you have to focus on how you make the money. How you make the money is important. Why? Because it flows through all the rest of the parts of your life. Here's something to know, as I've worked with a lot of people. Most people struggle to earn money. Now, our default is to start blaming it on society. But again, most people don't have aren't trained fully in the mindset of taking responsibility for their life and taking responsibility for where they are and saying they made some decisions, regardless of bad things that have happened or who's done what to you. All those things can be true, but it may not be the story that you need to tell yourself to get to the life you want. If something outside of you is always holding you back, you will stay held back for the rest of your life. So once you can flip that mindset and say, okay, I'm responsible for all these things. I'm responsible for my finances. I'm responsible for how I make money. Then it can open up your brain. A different part of your brain goes to work, figuring out how to do that. Most of us have never been taught how to make money. Most people have been taught, go to school, get good grades so you can get into college. Then you get a job, you pick a field when you're 17, you get into that field, and then you go work at that job, and that job is going to pay for your life. That's the extent of what we get in our society of how to go make money for the majority of people. The majority of people, I'm talking 80 to 90% of people, that becomes it. But what if that isn't your path? Here's what happens. What if you don't get good grades in school? What if you don't even like school? What if it was a struggle for you to get through it? What if you didn't graduate? What if you didn't know if you wanted to go to college? What if at 17, 18, you had no idea what you wanted to do? There's almost no other ways that people are guiding anyone, right? If you don't know if going to school, getting higher education, getting a job is the way they push the majority of people, then what's the alternative route? Because there can't be one route that's good for everybody, right? There can't be one path that everyone is successful at. That doesn't make sense. But what's the other path? This is where it opens up the door to people figuring out what to do. And that's when your mind starts working and saying, okay, well, what could I do? What are my skill sets? What do I like doing? What am I really good at? What do I see out here that's a need? Where can I go serve somebody? Where can I go find how to add value to people? What do I intrinsically bring to this? And then our brain goes to work figuring out how to go serve people, how to go put ourselves in a position to earn more money. That's the place we are in 2025. Halfway through 2025, ladies and gentlemen, we got to know we have to learn how to earn. I like that. I should probably put that on a shirt or something. We have to learn how to earn. We have to learn how to earn money. We have to understand, like, hey, all I know is how to get a job. And after that, now I'm watching all these things on social media about how to like start a business or how to invest money or how to buy real estate. And that's all I'm thinking about. But I'm not even really equipped that well to be able to go do that. So that's why we need to have this conversation. That's why this conversation is incredibly important. Again, right? Title today was the 5 benefits of having a side income. So for some of us, we need a full-time income. You need a real full-time income. For some of us, we just need some side income. The job you have pays for your bills. I try to teach people this all the time. Maybe you should understand this too, LinkedIn and YouTube. Typically, your job pays your bills. If it doesn't, you're probably at the wrong job. It's really not the bills that we're concerned about. It's the miscellaneous. It's the variable expenses. It's all the extra things you want to do to live life. You have a car that maybe you shouldn't have because you need to get around. Of course. Maybe you live in a place that you shouldn't live because you don't like other parts of neighborhood or you don't want to have a roommate or a tenant or something like that. Maybe you spend too much money on food. Maybe you got some vices, right? I really push back. Might hit a nerve. I really push back on people that complain about their finances and smoke cigarettes. No judgment on what you do with your body. But if you need help financially, and them jokers cost, I don't know, $10 a pack. Like you might need to figure out a way to kick the habit. Or make more money. I don't care what you do with your body, right? Go make more money so that doesn't impact you as much. Good mentor of mine used to always say, right? Life is not expensive. You just don't make enough money. Life's not expensive. You just don't make enough. But that's why we're here. It's to talk about how to make more and why to make more and what the importance is of having side incomes, right? Let me share this quick video with you that I had seen on TikTok, just talking about job life, job culture, and kind of transitioning into that entrepreneur space. So listen up.
So people are having trouble finding jobs right now, meaning like 9 to 5 jobs where you're working at a desk or even remote, but it still feels like you're working at a desk because your managers, supervisors, bosses, it still feels like they're breathing down your neck when you're working. Yeah, that's the worst thing in the world. I've done it like 12 times. I'm never doing it again. In fact, I'm this close to just like randomly starting a homemade tiramisu company for my apartment in New York City. You can be an entrepreneur so easily with the tools and resources that are available right now in 2025. It's insane. I've started multiple businesses in my life. Sure, they haven't all been winners, but I now know that I have more success earning a living and achieving the life that I want through entrepreneurship or being my own boss than relying on bad people to get back to my job application.
There we go. There we go. I want y'all to understand what you just heard. Okay. I want you to understand what you just heard. This is somebody that's been in the 9 to 5 world, and we're not bashing jobs, but this is a show talking about cash flow, talking about how you get to that next part of your life. And if any of you have been paying attention here on LinkedIn and YouTube with what we've been talking about for the past month, we were going over the World Economic Forum's list of the 10 skill sets you're going to need to be employable over the next 5 years, like to actually have a good job. And if you remember what I said, if not, go back and listen to those, because we highlighted like 8 to 10 different ones, skill sets. And what I mentioned to y'all was all of those skill sets, almost all of them, at least 8 out of the 10, are the same skill sets that allow you to be successful as an entrepreneur. When people say that entrepreneurship isn't for them, it's because they have a lack of mastery in some areas, because we all want control. We all want to own. That's why people want to buy their home and own their home. That's why people want to own their car. That's why people want to have a family and control their kid. Like, people want the control. It's just when you actually step out to become an entrepreneur, you have to control you. And most people don't control themselves, meaning their actions and their attitudes, their thoughts, their schedule. They're not disciplined. There's so many other things that come into play, not to mention all the 10 things on that World Economic Forum: the critical thinking, the analytical thinking, the creative thinking, the motivation, the being a lifelong learner, being curious, all of the stuff that we went through is what would make you successful as an entrepreneur. That was my message over the past month, is like, hey, they want you to have this for a job. We want you to have this so you can go off and build your ideal life. And what you just heard that guy talk about was that if you are in this position where you don't like your 9 to 5, or you're not in the position where that thing is growing you, or getting you to the life that you want, you are better suited to take ownership of your life and learn how to earn. You're better suited to learn how to earn. Now, some people don't want to learn how to earn. Some people don't want to learn anything. They just want to do what they want to do. God bless you. But if you don't, and you're open to learning, no matter what your age and stage, you could be 53 years old listening to this right now. If you're open to learning, you can actually retire at 60. Yeah. People think it's too late for them. But if you learn something new, you'll get a different outcome. And so there's a benefit to starting that process, y'all. There's a benefit to starting the process. The benefits are, this is what allows you to grow as a human being. Okay? Benefits of having a side income is really not just about the money. It's part of the money. It's part of the thing. Because again, we're going to build our discretionary income, right? So that's part of it. But one of the number one things that having a side income will help you do, it'll help you grow as a person. Side income will help you grow as a person. For sure. Why? Because now you have to do something different than what you've been doing. You have to do something different than what you've been practicing or doing for a long period of your life. So just by nature of you doing different things, you'll grow. That's what growth is, right? It's doing the thing that is uncomfortable, that changes you, that challenges you. Like, you're going to grow through that. So if you start a side business, get a side income, you're probably going to start doing some things that you haven't had to do before, which is going to grow you as a person. It's probably the number one reason to start this. Again, back to what we talked about a few weeks ago from the World Economic Forum, being a lifelong learner is important to your success, even to have a job coming up. So not to mention building your own business, it's going to push you to grow as a person. You're going to have to become different. right? Number two, it's the only way to control your income. By having a side business, by starting something on the side, by learning how to now earn money for yourself and not just be given money because you've given your time. Because that's what a job is, right? Again, we're not knocking. We're just showing you that, like, if you're not at the place you want to be, you gotta make some changes. And it probably comes from you thinking about this thing differently. So it's the only way to really control your income is if you have a side business. Because now you're learning how to earn money for yourself. You're learning how to influence someone, aka sales. You're learning how to get attention for your business, aka marketing. You're learning how a P&L works, how much it costs to ship something. You're learning how much labor actually costs. You're learning how much you're going to have to pay in taxes. All things you've probably never looked at before. So that helps with your financial literacy and financial knowledge. Then over time, if you keep doing a business long enough, or you keep practicing getting a side income, like keep doing, you're going to learn how to be efficient. You're going to start if you don't just quit, because that's what most people do. They just give up. They're just like, this was hard. And then they go back to the life that they had. But if you don't actually give up and you like push past the discomfort and the pain and the unknowing and all the stuff, you're actually going to learn how to become more efficient and effective with what you do, with your time in your business. You're going to learn things. This is why I said you have to learn how to earn. You have to learn how to do this stuff. No, it's not easy. But driving when you were 15 wasn't easy either. And you learned how to do that. There's probably a bunch of hard things that you had to go through, that you just had to learn how to do things differently. You just had to learn. Well, because of that, we're now at this stage where we say, hey, I need to make some more money. I need to bring in some more income. My discretionary income is not growing. I need a side income, but I don't know how to do it. I don't know what industry. I don't know what product. I don't know how. It's a great book by Dan Hardy. I think it's Benjamin Hardy. Ben Hardy? Dan or Benjamin? Who, not how? Who, not how? Oftentimes you think of the how, but really the question is who knows this information? Who would I need to become? Who would I need to get in touch with? Who could I reach out to that has these resources? Like who do I know? If I needed to start a business, who would I talk to? Not how would I start it or what would I do? Like who would I go to? Hopefully you have someone in your corner. If not, reach out. More than happy to point you in the right direction if I can. But again, it's the only way to control your income. If the person that pays your life controls your life, you have to control your life by knowing how to pay yourself, how to go make money. So it's another benefit of having a side income. By the way, a side income, number 3, could help you break away from your job. It could help you break away from the thing that you think is holding you back from getting to the life that you want. You settled for benefits over becoming the person that the person you could become. By just working and learning and growing, you settled for, I need benefits. It's okay. It's okay if you need the safety and security, or that's high in your basic human needs, the certainty. But you're also probably limiting who you can become and all that you can earn. So if you break away from that job by having a side business, it'll help you do those things. Can give you a sense of purpose, create new skill sets in you. All of these are things that will happen by you having a side income. It's not just about the money. Money is a part of it. But money grows to the degree that we do. If you're the same person that you were, you're going to make the same money. If you're the same person that you were 5 years ago, that's probably why you make about the same money. You haven't changed. You've lived, you've gotten older, but you're the same person. You think about things the same way. You haven't grown. Just because you've gone through experiences doesn't mean you've grown as a person. You actually have to intentionally grow. So if you want to change your income, if you want to make more money, well, you got to become a different person in order to do that. All right. But these are the reasons to have a side income. If your financial life is not changing, if your discretionary income is not growing, if you're not able to see you having more and more money year after year, then you should start the process now of figuring out, who do I need to talk to start us to get a side income? Who would I need to get around in order to be able to learn how to earn money for myself? I know many of us go to, the internet. It's where I'm coming to you at on the internet. Many of us go there, but you might not know those people. You might not know me. Might not be able to trust those people. So normally we're not taking full action unless we're not around people that are taking action. Just because you have more information doesn't mean you're doing anything with it. But if you want to, right, you want to make sure that you put yourself in a position to learn what you need to learn in order to go make additional income. So, gave you guys some things today of why it's important to create a side income. I really believe that in 2025, as we're halfway through 2025, y'all, things might not get better in this economy. I don't know. I don't have a glass ball. I'm not sure. You're seeing what's happening around you. And I want you to be empowered enough and encouraged enough to know that, like, you can go make money. What you heard the guy we listened to in that video clip, he's like, it's never been simpler to like go start a company, start a business. It's never been simpler. Like, we're not lying to you. Like, there's never been a simpler time, especially with AI now. Sheesh. The efficiency that you have to be able to start a business, my goodness. So simple. Why haven't you? You don't think entrepreneurially, and you haven't learned how to go do this. You haven't learned. Your mindset is still in one place. Like, I love watching TikTok, and I get I can get very passionate in the comments, because the people that get fired from a job and then spend like all their life, that's what it seems like. It's probably not but months and months complaining about they can't get another job. It's crazy to me. And I don't want to be harsh with my words, because I know everyone's in a different situation. But I know I used to be an employee, and I used to think that way. I never hated my job. I was really good at what I did, like a lot of you. But I know and my wife was this way, if we ever got fired, it's almost like staying in a toxic relationship just because you know nothing better. It's like, if I've gotten fired once or twice or 3 times in my life, and I still keep trying to find jobs, I still keep trying to find things, it's because I don't know how to do anything else. If you're in a toxic relationship, if you're in an abusive relationship and you're in 2 or 3 of them, and on the 4th one, you try to find another toxic, it's probably because you don't know how to do the healthy relationship. You don't know how to be with someone not abusive. You don't know the upside of what else is out there. That's all that it is. It's a lack of awareness of those things. And you can learn that stuff. So when it comes to working, when it comes to making money, just because you went to a job and they taught you to go get a job, and you see a bunch of people that have jobs and jobs seem normal, but for you, this is like, man, I keep getting fired. Man, I'm depressed because now I don't have a job, and now I'm uncertain, all this stuff. But you keep going to try to find the job. You should probably turn around and look at yourself and say, maybe I just don't know how to earn money. And maybe I should find a different way to earn money. Maybe I should start a side business. That way, while in search for this job, this other abusive relationship, this other toxic relationship that I potentially might have. Like, let me actually just figure out how to do some things for myself. Who would I need to talk to? Who would I need to get around in order to jump on that side and see kind of how that works? You're going to need it anyway. The World Economic Forum said you're going to need all these skill sets that are going to help you get a job. Those are the same skill sets that will help you be an entrepreneur. So if you got to get the skill sets one way or the other, then you get to choose how you want to earn money. My encouragement to all of you today on this Friday is to, if you're in the position to say, you know what, I need to go earn some more money. So I need to first learn how to earn it. I don't have all the ideas. I don't know all of the ways to make it happen, but who does know it? And I'm going to go reach out to them this weekend so I can start this journey. So I can get more fulfillment in my life because I'm building something. I can actually control my income. I can grow as a person. I can create new skill sets. I can eventually break away from this job and live the life that I want and be my own boss, which means I control my own actions and attitude. It has nothing to do with the income. Being your own boss has nothing to do with you just making money. It has everything to do with your ability to discipline and control your thoughts, your actions, your attitude. Discipline around your life. That's what being your own boss is. So when most people say entrepreneur, because I know I'll have someone in the YouTube comments say, well, entrepreneurship isn't for everyone. And I disagree. Being an entrepreneur is for everyone because it's just ownership of your life. In order to be a good entrepreneur, you just have to own yourself. You have to know what your strengths and weaknesses are. You have to know, right, how to handle you. Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Self-actualization is the top need. Do you know who you are? Do you know how you operate? If you can get there, then you can be a great entrepreneur, right? Like that's what makes great entrepreneurs. You know yourself. No one said you had to be good at everything. You just may not think about it the right way to say, well, who do I need to surround myself with to be great? That's the lesson for today, y'all. If you want to go out, build that side income, it's going to have tons and tons of benefits in your life. One of them being the fact that you're going to get to grow into the man or woman that you need to be. All right. Next Friday, it'll be July the 4th. I think I'll still be here with y'all. I don't think I have anything going on in the morning, but we'll come celebrate July 4th together. Half of the year down, y'all. Half of the year down. Half of the year left to go. Probably talk about this next week as far as your we'll probably talk about it next week about your goals and your visions and your dreams and all the stuff you wrote down in December of 2024 that you were going to do in January of 2025. Where you at? We'll talk about it next week, y'all. All right. So stay safe this weekend. Until next week. Peace.